Rick Francona, do you have a question for the side against the motion?
I suppose I could form this in a question.
No, you can't. Rick has to go.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I think it was Darius. You said that the motivation for cooperation, the public, you use the public cooperation is how you would round these guys up. I'm not sure that's always the case. Would you say that's why Al Qaeda in Iraq is being taken apart by the Anbar cooperative group out there? They're doing it because we're going to kill them, not because we're not going to be nice to them.
You know, one of the nasty things about Al Qaeda, and this is true about all terrorist torture, let's be clear, these people are barbarians, right? They chop off heads. They're incompetent at it. They know they're going to get a rise out of us. I have relatives, let me be honest with you. I have relatives who used to collect eyeballs, right? Beheading is ridiculous, as it's clearly a bait, and it's clearly designed to get us to make mistakes. Now, one of the things any Oriental ruler would have known is not to fall for that bait, right? Terrorists don't have fixed assets. They don't have jails. They don't have places. They have to be on the run. They have to depend on safe houses. What I'm finding right now in Al-Anbar is we're finding torture chambers. You know what that means? It means they're feeling comfortable enough to build torture chambers. That is not good.
Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't work, so it must hurt them more when it helps them.
It works. I'll tell you what it works for. It works to intimidate. It works to make false confessions. I am happy to stipulate that, although I will say this, too. We have all the records of French torture from the Ancien regime, and we know that these guys boiled people's feet in oil. They waterboarded. Do you know how many actually said anything? Do we have a single document left of them in confession? 3 to 14%. That's what false confessions are. Now, let's not even worry about the true and false confessions. The other part of this is you think that, well, if the guy breaks, oh, I'll know whether it's true or not. Again, 40 years of psychological research will tell you this. We're really, really bad at telling the difference between truth and lies, even interrogators. We've tested them. I'm sorry. There is no argument here.
Jack Cloonan, please direct the next question.
I'll direct this to Rick. Rick, what is the best way to get quality, actionable intelligence to protect this audience?
I don't think there's an argument. I agree with what you said. Establishing rapport.
Come sit over here.
Yeah, Rick, I don't understand what you're doing over there. I honestly don't. I mean,
I don't know how they are, but we got Rick.
There's a comma here. Given, in a perfect world, and if you had time to establish that rapport. But many times you don't have the time to do that. You're not sure you have the time to do that. The biggest problem is not what you know about a suspect. It's about what you don't know. And what you don't know is what's the timeline. And you have to get to that very quickly. And if you have any reason to believe that he's got information of an imminent value, then you've got to ramp up the treatment. Ideally, if you think this guy, okay, this is a low-level Taliban guy who probably doesn't know much. Let's sit down and talk to him and find out who we might know, where the training camps are, the routine order of battle kind of stuff you'd want to prosecute a war. But if you grab a guy, maybe bin Laden's driver, who was driving a set of orders somewhere, but you don't know where, it'd be nice to know where that is before the action happens.
I would now like to open up the floor to a couple of other questions.
On this waterboarding question, I heard Rick Francona say when he was subjected to it voluntarily, he broke after 30 seconds. David Rivkin says 60 to 90 seconds isn't torture. That seems like a long time for some. If Rick Francona has it right. And second, Rick Francona cites Michael Scheuer and George Tenet as sources saying that waterboarding was effective. But are those two credible? Is George Tenet credible? He of the slam dunk assessments, and Michael Scheuer, who is going around the country saying that Israel is running clandestine operations against the United States through the Holocaust Museum?
Well, that's quite a question.
Well, I wasn't aware of Michael Scheuer's testimony. I would rely on the 9/11 Commission report. I don't know what the relevance is of the seconds that people have held out, but clearly we have gotten actionable intelligence from the high-value CIA detainees. What I don't understand is obviously we do need to think about this not just as a utilitarian matter, but a moral one. But why is it necessarily the moral position to say that we are not going to use stress on a single al-Qaeda detainee and risk the possible destruction of hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent civilians? To me, it's not clear that the moral position puts more value on the protecting of temporary extreme discomfort of one person who is pledged to destroy as many Americans as he can, that's moral to protect him and to sacrifice thousands of American lives. The idea that stress does not work, never works, is an easy out. The fact is that regimes have used torture, again, which is not what we are arguing for today, but even torture has been shown to work. The French used it in the Algerian War, and they got information. They did.
Evidently, no.
They used.
Let's hear that one. Let's hear the evidence.
hard.
Let's hear the evidence. 24,000 arrests. 24,000 police arrests. Let's call them torture warrants, right? To catch what? How many in the Kasbah? Do you know how many there were? You guys don't know how many Al-Qaeda there were.
I actually do.
Okay. Well, there were.
All right, we are ready now for
1,400.
1,400.
24,000 tortured for 1,400, most of whom were actually died and went actually over to the French as informers.